Hi there, Legendary players. In this video, I'll be running through the new solo rules changes in the What If core set and comparing them to the advanced solo rules that we've been using for the last 10 years or so. The changes are pretty simple and fall into three categories: Henchmen, Master Strikes, and Scheme Twists. So let's get to it. First, I'll talk about the smallest change, and that's for Scheme Twists. At the end of a twist, you'll still cycle a hero from the HQ to the bottom of the hero deck. In a slight change that makes bookkeeping easier, you now only need to do that once, no matter how many twists chain together. For example, say that the Scheme Twist effect says to play another card from the villain deck, and that plays another twist, and then that plays a third. Under the advanced solo rules, you then have to cycle 3 heroes, and the timing on that had always been a bit murky and easy to get lost. Now you just cycle 1 at the very end of all of that. It's a lot simpler to manage. Next up, Master Strikes. With the new solo rules, you no longer play an extra card after a Master Strike. That's a few extra turns that are going to give you a little breathing room to keep the villain deck from cascading into a loss out of nowhere. And it will also give a boost to some of the masterminds that have Master Strike effects that would whiff if multiple were played in a single turn. Finally, Henchmen. Instead of adding 3 Henchmen to the villain deck, we'll grab 4. But only 2 of those will actually go into the deck. Set the other 2 aside during setup. Then at the beginning of the game, you play each of those set-aside henchmen into the city, triggering their ambush effects as normal. The end result of this is twofold. You're going to start with some easy targets in the city for those turns when you don't have a lot of attack. This might even encourage you to buy some attack cards a bit earlier than usual. And second, this is going to put a bit more pressure on the city. It's often pretty easy to control the city in a solo game, and this will give you the risk of some early escapes, or make abilities that care about city spaces, like Conqueror, matter a bit more. If you've played with the Messiah Complex expansion, you might be wondering about those henchmen with Clone. Yes, they'll still clone as normal, so with Sinister Clones, you'll play the first that you set aside, then clone it. Then play the second that you set aside, and clone it. And then each of those clones are going to shuffle their own bystander into the villain deck, per their ambush effects. And with the Sentinel Squad 1, the first one will clone, and then you'll play the second, but it won't clone because there are enough in the city already. And that's it for the new solo rules. Beyond that, everything else stays the same. 3 heroes, 1 villain group, and a bystander, unless something else changes any of that during setup. So what does this do to the speed of a solo game? Well, previously the average advanced solo game, given 8 twists in a deck, would last 20 turns, or 21 if the final card was a Master Strike. Now, we end up losing a turn due to 1 fewer henchman in the deck, but we gain 5 turns from those Master Strikes for a total of 24 turns. That's a typical gain of 4 turns per game. And while it gives you extra time, you can end up with some early pressure in the city. Now, I'll wrap this up by saying that we've been playtesting these rule changes for a very long time now. Devin's put a lot of thought into them, and we tried a few different options before landing where we did. If you've been playing Advanced Solo for a while, this may seem strange at first, but I think you'll come to like it. And if you thought Advanced Solo felt too fast, this is definitely worth a look. I've got a couple of playthroughs going up today of this month's league matches where you can see these rules in action. Check the links below the video for that. And starting next month, I'll be running leagues using these new rules. And finally, if you've never caught it before, I have to mention that I'm raising money for UVA Children's Hospital with Extra Life by playing Legendary. There's a big marathon running live for over 24 hours the first week in November, so come join me for that. But you can check out the donation page now for more details by clicking the link below this video, or going to legendaryleagues.com and clicking the donate button there. You can find out more about the special promos I offer to raise money for kids and families who need our help in order to change kids' health and change the future. We've raised over $15,000 in the last 7 years just by playing Legendary, thanks to the support of gamers like you. Have a great day, and have fun trying out these new rules.